We are learning Mishna Sotah, Parakeh, Chapter 5, Mishnah Gimel, Mishnah 3. Again, continuing with the different things that Rabbi Akiva had taught on the day that Rabbi Elazar ben Azariah became the Nasi of the Jewish people. Now, just a quick introduction. Eretz Yisrael was divided among all the tribes of Israel except for which tribe? Levi. Tribe of Levi did not get a portion of land. However, the Jewish people were commanded to give 48 cities to the Levium, the Levites, as well as an open area around each city. As the Torah says, you give them cities. There were 48 of them, and each one got a open area around the city. And now the Mishna is going to discuss the width of that open area, meaning the distance between the outer edge of the open area and the border of the city. How far does that go? So let's go to the Mishna now. Boy bayayim derish Rabbi Akiva. On that day, Rabbi Akiva taught. The pasuk says, "Umadoisem michutz la'ir," you shall measure from outside of the city, as pas kedma al payim ba'ama, on the eastern side, 2,000 amas. So you're measuring from the end of from the outskirts of the city. You are measuring. It says 2,000 cubits. Okay, 2,000 cubits. How much is a cubit? How much is an amma? They say down here in the notes there are various opinions about the length of an amma, ranging between 18.9 and 22.7 inches. Thus, 2,000 ammas, 2,000 cubits, is between 0.6 and 0.7 miles. Okay, that is what 2,000. That's what 2,000 ammas. So we didn't. That's what 2,000 ammas would be, and that's what we just read in the pasuk. We just read the pasuk says you measure 2,000 cubits from outside of the city. Umikra acharoimer, but there's another pasuk that says another verse that states mikir ha'ir v'chutza, from the wall of the city and outwards, elef amas aviv, 1,000 amos all around. You got one pasuk saying 2,000 cubits from the end, from outside the city, to the end of where this open area would be. And now you have another pasuk that says you're measuring from the wall of the city and outwards 1,000 cubits all around. So Iev Shalema Elaf Amma, you can't say that the area was 1,000 amas. Shekvar Nemar Payim Amma, because it's already stated that it's 2,000 amas. The Yev Shalema Payim Amma, and you can't say it's 2,000 amas. Shekvar Nemar Elaf Amma, because the other pasuk says it's 1,000 amas. So how do we deal with this contradiction? Ha Ketzad. So how can this be? So the first opinion says like this: Elef Amma Migrash. There's 1,000 amas that is migrash. Migrash means it's meant to be open green area. It is not meant for planting or anything like that. It's open green area. It's all about beautifying the city. So elef amma migrash, elef amma, 1,000 amas of open area. Valpayim amma tchum Shabbos, and 2,000 cubits is for the Shabbos border. We know there's a concept as halacha called tchum Shabbos. You cannot go outside of a city, 2,000, or meaning out of a city, out of a dwelling area, 2,000 cubits. So the 2,000 cubits that is mentioned in the pasuk, although it was mentioned in regard to the city, in regard to the discussion of how much of the cities of the Levium, nonetheless, that pasuk of 2,000 cubits is not used regarding the cities of the Levium. It's used for all cities. It's to teach you that there's such a thing as a limit for going outside of a city on Shabbos, and that limit is 2,000 cubits. That is the opinion of Rabbi Akiva. That's how we started. So Rabbi Akiva taught. He taught that the way to deal with these two verses is 1,000 cubits is a migrash, open area for the city of the Levium that have to be given, and 2,000 cubits has nothing to do with the Levium. That has to do with the law of Tchum Shabbos, of the Shabbos boundary. Okay? Which means, according to Rabbi Akiva, this law of the Shabbos boundary, which teaches us that a person may not go more than 2,000 amas beyond the border of his city on Shabbos and Yontif, according to this explanation, it is a Torah law. because we're saying that is what you derive from this pasuk. Rabbi Eliezer ben Oish Rabbi Yisai Glili Yomer, arguing with Rabbi Akiva was Rabbi Eliezer, the son of Rabbi Yisai Glili, who said the way to answer this contradiction in the psukim and the verses is Elef Amma Migrish, 1,000 cubits is for open area, Valpayim Amma, and 2,000 cubits, meaning another 1,000 amis, Sotah Sachramim, has to be given to them for fields and for vineyards. According to Rabbi Yisai Glili, the Torah is telling you with the 2,000 cubits is that besides for the 1,000 cubits of open area, there's another, no, you got only 2 at the end. There's only 2, the total is 2. But 1,000 is going to be used for open area, and the other 1,000 is to be used for the fields and for the vineyards. Which means, according to Rabbi Yisai Glili, he says he's going to. According to him, the pasuk is not talking about anything about Tchum Shabbos, about the limits of where you can go outside of a city on Shabbos, and therefore, according to him, the whole law of Tchum Shabbos is not a Torah law; it's a rabbinic law, and that's what we paskin. That's what we follow. We follow in halacha that the whole law of Tchum Shabbos of going outside the boundaries of a city is on Shabbos is a rabbinic law, and therefore is rabbinic law, and therefore that's based on the fact that Rabbi Yisai Glili explains the psukim of 1,000 and 2,000, both regarding the cities of the Levium, 1,000 for the open area, 2,000 and another 1,000 for fields and vineyards. I just want to conclude that when we talk about Tchum Shabbos, although we are talking about it here in regard to a city limits, the definition of the end of a city, right, has its own definition when it comes to this law. There is no law that you can't go from outside a mall than 2,000 cubits, because as long as you have living area that keeps going, it's considered like one big city. Another thing is also important to know is that if you live in a forest, right, you also only get 2,000 cubits from your living space. So the whole idea of Tchum Shabbos is 2,000 cubits from a living area. The Torah laid it out regarding a city, but it really deals with any kind of living area where you are. You're going to get 2,000 cubits around your living area. 2,000 cubits means 2,000 cubits outside of the living area. Have a wonderful day.